Wonderland Syndrome. What the heck?
You got it.
Kirsty smells like piss. A guy's tongue is nasty. Shit.
Well, there you go, folks. If you aren't... If you aren't riveted and bought in yet already, then I don't know what's going to do it.
I'm really going to have to title this episode something interesting. Because
I mean, like that hook, that's a major hook.
That was awful. God damn
God,
it.
so much piss.
I was doing so much prep this morning that I forgot to write down what we were talking about. Well, anyway, what I was going to say was I was fucking around on Twitter and I saw this very interesting tweet of this person writing. They put up a video of them explaining this very bizarre sensation that they've felt, that they've felt here and there throughout their whole life.
In their pee-pee?
No. And they basically described this sensation of, it's like for 15 seconds or so, every once in a while, they'll have this feeling as though like time is going really quickly. Mm-hmm. And not like the way that we all probably can relate to that, where, you know, you're sitting at the office, you're doing your work, and the next thing you know, you're like, fuck, it's like 3:00. I haven't even eaten lunch. Like time has flown by. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like 15 seconds of like, you are literally seeing the world zoom by.
Like fast forward.
Everything is in fast forward.
Can I take a guess? Does it have anything to do with their heart rate?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question. So I started, so this person was expressing this, and then all these people started chiming in on this thread going, holy fuck, I've had this.
On this tweet.
There's this big thread.
Not the thread. The tweet.
Not on thread. It was a Twitter thread.
The Twitter thread.
They're going to have to change that.
Yeah. It's a branding issue.
So all these people were like, holy shit, I've had that. And I've never known how to describe it. I thought I was the only one, you know, that kind of thing. And it made me think of like, if you've ever felt sleep paralysis and then you go to like explain it to someone, but unless they've had it, it's like really hard to conceptualize like what that must feel like. So there was all this like big thing of people like sort of coming together going, I have this too. I've had this too.
Like sleuthing. Like they were like trying to get to the bottom of it together.
Yeah, kind of. So anyway, I end up figuring out that this sensation that they are experiencing is called tachysynesia, which is a part of a greater sort of syndrome that people can have. So donut. Donut ate your lunch. So this is called Alice in Wonderland Syndrome.
No.
Are you familiar with this?
No, I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about it.
Alice in Wonderland Syndrome, or AIWS, is a rare neurological condition. It temporarily affects how the brain understands its surroundings. Alice in Wonderland Syndrome impacts vision, hearing, touch, and the perception of time. It most commonly occurs in children and teenagers. Psychologist John Todd named Alice in Wonderland Syndrome in 1955, basing it off of the Lewis Carroll book, Alice in Wonderland. And in that story, a young girl named Alice enters a land where things do not appear as she expects them to. Those with Alice in Wonderland Syndrome have similar experiences to Alice. Alice in Wonderland Syndrome is sometimes called Todd's Syndrome.
Right.
So if anybody doesn't remember Alice in Wonderland, it was this cute little girl. She falls into a hole. She's, for some reason, super chill about it.
See ya.
Just says bye to her cat as she falls forever.
This would be one of those things that I'd be fascinated to know, at least in North America, like why somebody would not be familiar with that story. But, you know,
well,
to each their own.
You know,
okay, wait. But before,
actually, to that point, like I never knew what the Velveteen Rabbit was, but apparently everybody knows that. I had
The
no idea.
character from
I had no idea.
Alice in Wonderland? The rabbit from Alice in Wonderland?
No, that's different. The
Okay.
Velveteen Rabbit is it's its own character, its own story.
Oh, but I think that's what she follows down the hole. That's
Same-
why it's called
same
the rabbit.
world?
I think that's why it's called the rabbit hole.
Velveteen Rabbit is a completely separate thing.
Oh, but I think the
There's
idea,
a rabbit in Alice.
There
in
is a
Wonderland.
rabbit in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, and I
yeah.
believe she follows it down the hole, which is why
She does, yeah.
which is why
Yeah.
it's coined, going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
because
Yeah, and
it's-
then she just discovers a bunch of conspiracy theories and
Yeah.
things like
yeah,
that.
it's called the Do Your Own Research Hole.
exactly.
So anyway, if you don't know what Alice in Wonderland is, fuck you is basically what Taylor's saying. So
I'm just curious. That's all.
here, what are the symptoms of Alice in Wonderland syndrome? They can be broken down into 3 categories. I think this is so fascinating because a lot of this actually reminds me of tripping on LSD. Like I've had a lot of these similar experiences on LSD. So type A of Alice in Wonderland syndrome affects some static senses. So touch, temperature, and pain. Type B affects visual perception. And then if you have type C, it's a mixture of both types A and B. The main symptoms of Alice in Wonderland syndrome relate to perception. So that is how the brain understands or interprets the information it gets from the senses. Many patients report feeling as though they have physically shrunk or grown compared to their surroundings.
Whoa.
That's very Alice in Wonderland, right?
So that's very LSD.
Yes, right. I mean, sort of, yeah.
Well, there's a whole thing around Alice in Wonderland, and obviously LSD wasn't like
Pretty sure Lewis Carroll
wasn't synthesized until much later than after.
I'm pretty sure he
Alice in
was
Wonderland
just
was
snorting ergot and,
Right.
and came up with that
Right,
story.
Yeah, maybe.
Others feel as though the things around them have shrunk or grown while they have stayed the same size. These are not hallucinations or illusions. These symptoms are based on real sensory input that has been temporarily distorted, not just misunderstood.
Wow. So it's
How
like
fucking wild is
so
that?
it's like a brain disorder that is mimicking some of the symptoms that arise from like psychedelic drug use.
I'm curious though. It sounds almost like like somebody just decided to do a rebranding of like psychosis.
Well, so I will get to that. I'll get to like where this stems from, and it's not that
Okay.
at all. So metamorphosia describes the perception that horizontal or vertical lines are distorted. It may also seem to patients as though their vision is unstable. These distortions can interfere with reading and the ability to perceive faces. Very similar experiences on LSD.
That's really interesting. Just about the lines being distorted, like your
yeah.
perspective line. So like if you're looking at like the horizon line, it's funny because like from an illustration perspective, if you draw like a vanishing point and then draw all your lines and then draw your buildings based on those vanishing points, then you get like a really nice accurate perspective. But if somebody doesn't do that, it's really easy for things to look way out of whack. Which is similar to like, have you guys been to a science museum where they have those like rooms where you can go and stand in the back corner and you look really tall?
Yeah.
And then you like walk towards
Yeah.
the front, you look
Like a
really
fun
small.
house type thing.
Totally. So because of those like vanishing points being distorted, it's really easy to understand like how somebody could just have those points sort of distorted and
Right.
all of a sudden start to think like, whoa, like I'm sitting across from Taylor and like he looks huge from where I'm sitting now because I have no perspective of like how other things should fit into the room.
I mean, like we see examples
Great
of that.
contribution, Brian.
We see
Thanks.
examples of that all the time with like, like optical illusions that are kind of fucking with it. Like, I mean, I know this isn't quite the same thing, but like the like magnetic hill thing, right? It's like this weird sort of perception illusion where you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm moving backwards. I'm really moving forwards. What's going on? I think this is slightly different. So metamorphosia is often caused by a displacement of the retina in conditions like macular degeneration. The retina is a layer at the back of the eye responsible for sending images to the brain through the optic nerve. It contains cells called photoreceptors. Photoreceptors convert the light that enters the eyes into the nerve signals. If something causes the retina to shift, it will impact how light hits the photoreceptors. This can lead to the visual distortions associated with metamorphosia. There's also micropsia. Micropsia is a type of metamorphosia. it causes the individual to perceive objects as smaller than they actually are. This can, for some reason, I just find that really funny. It's like you just look at a fucking big old dog and you're like, "Aw, look at that little
thing.
Look at that little thing."
God, what'd you breed this with?
So, but wait, so what you're saying is that it's not like not similar to psychosis in the way that like psychosis is like your brain is like distorting whatever your sort of version of reality is. Does it specifically stem from the way that your eye is interpreting and sending a wonky signal to your brain?
So don't hold on too much to what I'm saying here, because basically I'm just listing off a series of so Alice in Wonderland Syndrome
Is a psychological
is a
thing.
sort of umbrella term for a ton of different things that you can experience. So
Down the rabbit hole.
exactly, doing your
Right.
own research. And so but also Alice in Wonderland Syndrome, if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, it's not from one particular thing. There's a pretty extensive list of things that can cause Alice in Wonderland Syndrome symptoms.
See, I thought that I was really getting this. Like, I thought, oh, when somebody looks at like a map of the world and their retina has this like issue that is sending the wrong signals to their brain, maybe that's why they think there's an ice wall and the world is flat. You know, like they look at it and they're like, oh, that's
You're
distorted
being
a little
very
bit.
generous.
And that's the reason why they're getting this mixed signal to their brain.
Yeah.
So micropsia can also occur when fluid gets behind the cones of the retina. The fluid then pushes the cones away from their underlying structure. Cones are a type of photoreceptor. They're responsible for color vision and the ability to see small details. The area of the retina where the cones reside is called the macula. When performing what's called an Amsler test, those experiencing micropsia will see the lines of the grid curving toward the center dot. So like just distorts the way they see things.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's macropsia. So we had micropsia. Macropsia is a condition where objects appear larger than they actually are. Then we have pelopsia or pelopsia is another symptom of Alice in Wonderland Syndrome. It causes objects to appear closer to the viewer than they actually are. So basically, it's like they're
Get
just
away from me.
they look through the world. They look at the world the same way we look at the world when we're looking at a rearview mirror.
Okay.
Things
Yeah,
are
yeah,
closer than they
yeah.
appear.
Guys, isn't it fucking crazy? I mean, I know that you, Jer, have your shit with CF and you've got your shit with ADHD, and my shit is like TBD.
Oh, well, I mean, I think the jury's in on that.
Right. Psychopathy.
Yeah.
So we all got our thing. But like, isn't it crazy how many things there are that could be wrong with you?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and that we don't just all have like 1,000 of them.
I think we all do have, well, not 1,000 of them, but I think we all have something. You know,
Right.
like,
But there's so many things. How do we not have so many?
yeah.
Too
Some
many.
of us do.
Some of us
there's
do.
too many
Some do.
things.
There's
Yeah.
too many.
There's too many things. We have had people on this show that had too many things.
Yeah. We're like, you can't be a guest because you have too much to talk about.
Yeah. Like when somebody fills out an application and they're like, okay, well, let's get going.
Yeah, we refer to them as collectors. If they're a collector, like they're trying to collect all these titles and names, then we just throw them out.
So then there's
Too many.
There's telopsia, which is the opposite of pelopsia, which is things appear further away than they actually are. And then we have what I brought the entire thing that brought this up was the tachysensia, which is a non-visual symptom of Alice in Wonderland Syndrome. It impacts the individual's perception of time. To me, this one is the weirdest one. Tachysensia can make it feel as though time is moving more rapidly than it actually is. Episodes of tachysensia can last up to 20 minutes. Along with the sensation that time is moving too quickly, sounds may also appear louder than normal.
How do you
Dude, how
detect?
strange.
What do you think that looks like? If you're an observer of a person who's experiencing that, do you think they're just like yelling like "slow down,
Dude,
slow down," but like also maybe really slow mo?
I feel like they'd be, I mean, if it was me, I'd probably look like this. I'd be like,
I guess the big question with all this is like when we talk about it, it's hard to wrap your head around just how Like how much faster is it being perceived?
I mean,
Like,
it's just
are
like
we talking 2 times speed? Are we
Yeah.
talking 10x speed? Are we talking watch a movie in 5 minutes?
So the
speed?
guy that did this video on Twitter, he used this as an example. He said, when I'm experiencing it, it lasts a short period of time, but when I'm experiencing it, I'll take my hand and do this, but it feels like I did this.
So like slowly
Dude.
wave it across his face, but it felt like he just like
Right, sure,
Like,
right.
here's
yeah,
a- threw it across
I
his
just
face.
forgot that we're doing a podcast and
Here's
no
a
one can
thought.
hear a fucking thing that I just did.
Here's a thought.
God damn
watch
it,
on
Jeremy.
YouTube.
You fucking idiot.
Does everybody who listens to podcasts at faster than normal speed have the opposite of this fucking thing? Because I cannot wrap my head around how somebody listens to a podcast at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, I mean,
It drives me bonkers.
Have you ever done it accidentally though and not noticed?
I had somebody come in. I had a friend of mine come
Have you
in.
ever done that?
I had a
I've
friend of
done
mine
it, but I
come in.
noticed right away.
I didn't notice right away. I was going
noticed
for a
right
bit
away.
and then I went, man,
It's hard to
I don't
tell.
remember Ira. I mean, Ira Glass has got a, pretty like, I guess like a high pitched voice sort of, but this sounds like, he sounds like
I
a
can
fucking
find it
chipmunk
hard.
right now. What
I can
happened?
find it hard to tell if it's a podcast that I haven't listened to before.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I'm familiar with, then you're like, oh, the voice is weird.
yeah.
But I had a friend come in to when I was teaching yoga. She came into the yoga studio and she's from Toronto and she's a doctor and she was telling me how much she'd been enjoying the show. And she was like, yeah, the show's awesome, like really great guests, learn a lot of stuff. Man, you guys talk so fast. And I was like, huh, interesting. I've never had anybody say that. I've never like received that
That's funny.
piece of feedback. And she was like, yeah, it's crazy. And I go, let me see your can I see your phone.
Show me your phone.
She gave me her phone and I looked at her settings and and she was like at 1.5 or like 1
3x.
3/4 or something. And I was like, well, here's your problem.
Slow
Yeah.
it down.
So, what causes Alice in Wonderland syndrome? Well, it's a neurological condition. So it means it's caused by disruption or damage to the nervous system, and the nervous system is made up of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves. So there's a variety of causes associated with Alice in Wonderland syndrome. The most common include migraines and Epstein-Barr virus infections.
Oh, mono.
Other potential causes include epilepsy, brain trauma, tumors, aneurysms, psychiatric disorders like schizophrenia, depressive syndrome, and depersonalization disorder, infectious diseases like Lyme disease, scarlet fever, typhoid fever, shingles. That can't be right. Coxsackie virus?
That needs a rebrand.
What is Coxsackie virus? Get out of here. Coxsackie virus are
It's a
part of
condition
the
of the penis and the testicles.
enterovirus family of viruses, which also includes poliovirus and hepatitis A.
There you go.
You gotta get that Coxsackie fixed. And then also medications. So medications like Montelukast, dextromethorphan, and some other medicines. But also, like I said this earlier, psychoactive drugs also can do this. So LSD, marijuana, cocaine, what have you.
You mean like those drugs could
Cocaine.
induce this, or like people experience these symptoms while they're doing them?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could go
right.
like it's a 1,000 things it seems that would cause somebody to go like, hey, I've experienced that before.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Now, kind of interesting, right?
Kind
And
of.
also- and like one of those things where like, it's one of those things where maybe if you heard someone say that they were experiencing, you'd kind of be like, I don't know. It seems a little hard to, right? Like when you hear of the lady in the UK who hit her, she bonked her head. She all got bonked up in her head, and
super bunked up.
and then like she like the day before she got bonked up, she sounded like this, and then she got bonked in the head, and she was like,
Yep.
she was like,
Do it. Do it.
You can't.
I don't think I can.
Dude, you can do it. Dude, you're just illustrating to people.
She basically went,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do,
Yeah, you
I
can.
can't do it.
Yeah, you can.
I can't do it. I actually can't do it because I don't know how.
I don't even know what it is. I just know it's an accent.
She had a Chinese accent.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
That's a good description. We
She
can all
pro-
do it in our
she
heads.
pronounced battery. which she
Battery
didn't used to
charger.
say battery charger. That's
Yeah.
how she would say it.
She used to say
She used to say
battery.
battery charger.
Battery
She
charger.
go battery charger.
Right.
Now she says battery charger. But you would see that or hear that,
Fucking
and
fascinating.
and you would go, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You
You're
know, like it is
yeah,
kind. It is
yeah.
kind of like
Totally.
I don't know. But again,
and there was
it's
a
like,
girl with a French accent, like
Yeah.
an American girl
Yeah.
with a French who got fucking head
foreign
injury.
accent
and then,
syndrome is what it's called.
The Australian
That's right.
woman who had the Eastern European.
That's right. She talked like she was
Yeah.
from like Belarus or Russia. Or,
Mhm.
Yeah, a little less problematic than the other lady. But so anyway, so you hear that and you go, that's I don't know. It sounds a little off. But I guess like I've got like clinicians and psychologists and scientists saying like, no, this is actually like a real thing. Well, this Alice in Wonderland syndrome thing put me on a rabbit hole, and I ended up finding this other, I guess you would call it a neurological disorder that I've never heard of before. And it's kind of it made me laugh, and I don't know if I believe it, but I guess I have to believe it. This guy Henry Gray in 2009, he was 23. He discovered that he had lexical-gustatory synaesthesia, a condition that blurs the senses, meaning that he can often smell or taste while hearing.
right. I've heard of synesthesia before. Colors, like seeing colors, and
Yeah, seeing color,
or like when
or-
music notes are being played, you see them like they're represented as colors and or auras.
Yeah. This one's a little different. This one has to do with names. So Henry will never date someone named Kirsty because Kirsty, the name Kirsty, smells like piss.
Wow. That is,
No.
Okay?
dude.
That's made
There's
up.
no ending.
That's
There's
made
no
up.
end.
It's not made up.
There is no end.
This is
to
from Lab
this-
Bible. This is not made up.
There's no end to this shit in the world. There is no end to it. Like, think of anything. Just let your brain wander and create the craziest connection. Someone out there has a disorder or a disease that is making that weirdest fucking thing you've ever thought of
Which-
happen.
which also is
it
the
gets
best-
really interesting because there's a whole list of names here, and I can't wait to go through them all.
I mean, which is also the best argument for aliens existing, right? Like, there's just the probability is just at some point it's
Dude, you should watch.
It's
There's
so
a
high.
Cool Worlds video where he plays both sides of that argument. It's fascinating.
can't listen to
lexical-
that guy without feeling.
Did you say lexical
Mostly.
gustatory synesthesia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Gustatory.
gustatory, like I think of like a Gaussian blur. So like
That's what I thought of
that's
too.
like,
but
so
probably
you're
doesn't have anything to do
blurring
with that.
names are sort of blurred in with the sense of smell.
Yeah. So
Oh, I guess it would then.
according to Henry, the name Kirsty smells like piss, and that's not even the worst one.
Rough.
With the barman from Newcastle saying, "quote I've always associated words and names with taste, smells, and feelings. It's all I ever known." So, what do Harry Styles, Donald Trump, and Kate Middleton's names taste like, or smell like, or feel like? Well, according to Henry, Harry is hair sticking up like telephone wires. That's how he describes the word Harry. Donald is deflating rubber duck.
So specific.
Meanwhile, Kate is vaguely like jaggedly cutting cloth with a knife in a church, and I can hear it, which is really super specific.
Those are super specific.
Now,
But wait,
again, I'm getting a little further away from the seat of belief,
but wait,
but we're gonna
wait,
keep going.
Are they all bad? Like those don't
No,
sound
they're
like
not.
good things.
They're not. There's some good things. So the comparisons don't stop there. Apparently, Cameron Diaz is like a sparkly disco ball slowly rotating, and Jennifer Lawrence is like sniffing the inside of a shoe. Now that one,
Depends on what you're into.
I think he's getting this sense of smell conflated with what he wants to do with Jennifer Lawrence, which is sniff her shoes. So there's a list here of the names. Okay, so let's go top female names. These are the names that he like really that give him a sense of not a smell of piss. The name Sappha, which I don't think I've ever met anyone named Sappha, but I really like that name.
I knew I used to teach yoga to a woman named Sappho.
Different. So Sappha
Yeah, well,
Is
yeah, by one letter.
smells like espresso soaked sponge cake. Sappho smells like espresso-soaked shit.
God, such small changes
I know, it's crazy.
make such drastic impacts.
Do you think it has to do with the letters? Like
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe there's
Well,
certain letters
Abby,
that like
Abby. What do you think Abby smells like?
a rhododendron
Wow.
growing from just after a warm summer rainfall.
Orange Hubba Bubba.
Close.
Okay, what about Haley? This is specifically Haley, Hayley. This one's kind of nice. This one is like this is a Riz God
A
compliment.
very carefully curated diet.
Faint, soft music.
Wow. Okay.
Top male names: Mitchell with 2 L's. Stretchy cheese shell pasta.
Wait, hold on. Why does it have to be 2 L's if he's hearing
Well,
it?
it's just spelt this way. I don't fucking know. People spell their names different. Theo, cotton ball in mouth.
Cotton ball in mouth.
That's not. I don't know why that's on the
too
top
dry.
male name. That sounds awful. Oscar. Hot garbage heap. No. Citrus orange juice. Okay.
Oh, I get it. Oscar
Martin.
the Grouch.
Smarties. Now, the UK, I don't know what Smarties are. They're probably different from ours. Bailey. Didn't know it was a guy's name, but let's do it. Bailey warm milk. Also, I'd be very pissed if that was mine.
Do you
That's
think?
awful.
Do you think it matters if it's
Wait till we get to the worst
Bailey
names,
for like as like a masculine name or Bailey as a feminine
though. All right,
name? Do you think
Donovan.
it's, like,
No,
different?
that's Donovan Bailey. Have you ever met a guy named Bailey?
I don't think
I mean,
so.
I think it's a great ambiguous name.
Mhm.
Great, works. I
I
just
mean-
never met anyone. Named
I've never
Bailey.
really thought of my name as being a feminine name, but it
Taylor.
is almost always that.
Yeah. So the worst female names: Mary, a pile of unwashed pink bed sheets, faintly smelling of damp. Oh.
Oh, dude,
Sounds
damp
right.
sheets.
Kate,
Worst.
the sensation of burning myself on ice,
Wow. What?
like falling over on an ice rink and scraping your skin on dry ice.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Natalie, like broken wood splinters in my mouth. Look, guys, we didn't say this. This is this guy. If your name is Natalie, you're just a bunch of splinters in my mouth. Gertrude.
In his mouth.
In
In
his
his mouth.
Gertrude. I'm saying he said it.
I know Gertrude.
He
Gertrude,
said my mouth.
Gertrude is like a pickle brine.
Oh, dude.
Oh.
Tastes like when you swallow back your own sick.
Oh. I'm so
Oh my God, dude.
way too familiar with that.
Daisy,
Such a pleasant name.
right?
Probably not flowers.
Sickly sweet butter that's been left out in the sun has turned orange.
This guy's just
Do you hear that,
trolling.
Daisy?
This guy's just
Man,
trolling.
how much do you think he hates networking events?
This is just way too specific.
Arabella, a long smelly cock.
No.
Sorry, a long smelly sock. My bad. If your name is Danica, though, it's sharp. If your name is Danica, it's sharp segments of ready salted crisps lodged in my throat.
These are very specific.
Oh, they're so specific.
So
All right, let's go
insane.
on to some guy names.
Wait. But just to clarify now, because I'm getting a little bit lost. So he hears this name and then
And all of a sudden, he's got chips in his throat.
and he feels that
I
or
guess.
like has the sensation that just like triggers that
Yeah.
thought in his
Oh,
brain
yeah,
that he's
dude,
like experiencing that in
I
the
mean,
moment.
what would you rather? Would you rather be this guy where every time you think or hear the name Kirsty, you smell piss? Or would you rather be the guy who orgasms 600 times a day and orgasmed like 10 times during his dad's funeral?
I'd rather be the
I'd rather be
guy
this
with the
guy.
names. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
but
same.
why names and not like just random words?
I don't
Like
know.
I wonder what's
know.
different about someone name than like just the words that you use in a regular sentence.
I don't know. Maybe this guy's all
all
bunked
other
up.
words.
Maybe he's all bunked up
I
in
mean,
the head.
something's bonked.
Yeah. Elijah, like licking an eyeball. Makes my skin crawl to say it. Brad. I
Gotta
think we
be-
all know how we feel when we hear the word Brad.
Sorry, Brad.
The sensation of rope burn. Hey, nailed it. Dylan. Ugh.
Oh, sand
Fucking-
under the
Oh my
foreskin.
God.
Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. That is it. Sand under the foreskin. How'd you know that?
That's what I have for this.
Yeah, Brian's experiencing it now.
Ian. It just says a horrible name. It's like having a sticky blocked ear, all gammy and waxy.
Oh,
I guess it's like the sensation of an earache. Ian. And then finally, Warren feels like heartburn.
Wow. Well, now we know.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Do you guys want to hear something gross?
Yes.
What do you think of this photo right here?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is that hair?
That. So describe what we're looking at here.
Oh, it's like it's a discolored tongue. That looks like that where like 80% of it, like the edges are pink like a normal tongue. And then
You saying discolored
Yeah, I
tongue really
know.
really softens the blow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
when you
generous.
when you see it, it is a horrendously green tongue covered in hair.
Yeah.
But is it hair?
Yeah, sure. I guess it is a discolored tongue.
I mean, yeah.
technically.
I mean, at its base function, it's discolored puke green. And
Yeah, but you know
it
what?
looks like
When
there might be
people
hair
are
on it.
listening to the podcast, you want to try to give some oomph to the descriptives. You want to
Okay, it's fucking horrific.
There we go. Thank you.
It makes me think of Ian.
Now
It looks like Oscar the Grouch was caught out in a rainstorm.
that's
and
a Brad photo right
It
there.
makes
let
me
tell
feel
you.
like I've
tongue.
got sand in my foreskin.
So what do you guys think could cause something like this?
Never brushing your teeth.
I don't think so. Probably something to do with it, but it's not that.
Eating bad food.
Cigarettes and antibiotics apparently cause this. So for many years, we've been warned about the damaging effects of smoking on the body. Usually we think of the lungs, but there's the other things like yellow fingernails and yellow fucking teeth and
Mm-hmm.
yellow hair. Isn't that a crazy thing? Like old men that have white hair, they'll have that little like coiffed
because
of
the
yellow.
smoke like
Yeah.
wafts up your face.
Is it actually from that?
Yes. Yeah.
Like the same way that
If
like
you
a
see it-
white dog's eyes discolor like the hair like underneath their eyes?
'Cause they've
It's
been
It's
like,
because the dog's just jamming fucking snooze into their eyeballs.
Yeah.
So, however, this green tongue is obviously a disturbing one. A man from the U.S. noticed the change to his tongue color after taking some antibiotics. Now, the unnamed 64-year-old man from Ohio went to the doctors around 2 weeks after he noticed his tongue had started to change color. Now, I noticed this the other day. My tongue was like black, but I figured it out. It was the Pepto-Bismol, which apparently does that. Makes your tongue and your shit black.
no.
It does, yeah.
That's be scary, especially the black shit, because black shit is not good.
Yeah. So, but this guy's visit to a primary care clinic came just 3 weeks after he completed a course of antibiotics, clindamycin, which he'd been taking for a gum infection. Interesting here.
There's a lot of comorbidities.
The man's rather peculiar symptoms have been reported in a case study from the New England Journal of Medicine, where it was disclosed the man is a smoker. However, some of the details in the study remain vague. It's unclear as to how long the man's been smoking or how often he does. The authors did also not indicate whether the change in color was caused specifically by smoking, the antibiotics, or a combination of the two. Nonetheless, pictures published in the study show the man has a green, hairy tongue. Something that is honestly like one of the most gnarly things I think I've seen in like a little while is the hair on the tongue.
Do you guys brush your tongue when you brush your teeth?
Yes.
Don't you think that like if you were starting to develop that, you'd like try to
Yeah.
do you think
It must not have had any effect.
it doesn't look like that person made an effort to reduce what was going on in there?
So what do you think that hair is?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, it's called hairy tongue.
That makes sense.
Is it hair?
No, it's an abnormal coating of skin cells that form off the top of the tongue, creating a buildup of debris and bacteria.
Well, but see,
And
this is
it
my point.
looks like hair. Like that looks That looks
is
like a
nasty.
week from braidable.
That is so rough.
But
Do you think
don't
this
you
guy
think-
watched that tongue hair grow the way I watched my mullet grow
Ew.
over the span of a year?
Oh.
Ew. But don't you think that if you brushed your tongue, that you would, in this case, if it's a buildup of skin cells, like, don't you think you could brush that off and clean it a bit?
Dude, I don't know.
I think in that case you'd have to pressure wash it off.
Yeah,
I
probably.
think you're gonna need have to go down to the rubber ducky and put a few bucks in. You know what I mean?
Guys, you know what's crazy? This is seemingly totally unrelated, but actually kind of related. Okay, I'm cleaning my sink this morning. Okay, my kitchen sink, and for the drain plug thing that's in the sink that's like got the if it's up enough, then water can flow through it. You push it down and it stops everything, and it catches whatever food and debris and shit.
Unfamiliar.
Okay, so that was like discolored in like discolored in the way that like sinks get discolored. And
Discolored like the way this guy's tongue was discolored?
not so much, but on its way. And like I clean my sink fairly regularly, but there's always a spot on the bottom of the sink, like on the base of the sink, that like kind of never gets completely clean. And I'm always like, oh, it's just like it must just be like the metal must be stained that way. And then the same sort of thing was happening in the drain thing. And I'm cleaning it, and I'm cleaning it with soap, and I clean it, and like the sink looks fucking great, except for this like one patch and then the drain piece.
This is the bathroom sink?
No, the kitchen
The
sink.
kitchen sink. So like a stainless steel metal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I took out a magic eraser and was like, oh, maybe I'll scrub it with this. And this has been discolored for a long time, and it's just something that I went like, oh, this is just regular wear. Man, I rubbed that thing with a fucking magic eraser.
Yeah,
And
dude.
that thing is so shiny and clean now.
Taylor,
It looks
How dare you non-believer? It's a magic eraser. It does,
I know.
It gets rid of
I
everything.
don't know why, and I don't.
And do you know who makes magic erasers?
Dude.
Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
So like, what did you think was going to happen?
I don't want to know what's
You
in a magic
fucking
eraser.
idiot.
I'm sure it's horrific, but it
You kitchen
works.
cleaning muggle.
God,
That
and
is
it's crazy.
shameful.
So this is what this guy needed. He needed a magic eraser.
For his tongue?
He needed a tongue magic eraser. That's probably what they do at the hospital. They go in and they go, didn't you try the medical magic eraser? And he said no. And then they literally just wiped his tongue, and it was a advertisement.
It's
lawnmower.
melamine. It's a nitrogen-rich organic base that is, in its solid state, is a powerful yet delicate abrasive.
Okay,
That's what a magic eraser is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not as bad.
Nope.
That's not as like a surface level harmful as I thought it might be. Although it might,
Yeah.
be slowly killing me and introducing
I
forever
thought-
chemicals into my
Maybe it
system.
would work on this guy's tongue because I was saying that it's the buildup of debris and bacteria. So they build that the bacteria builds up on the part of the tongue where the taste buds sit, also known as the papillae. And if there's a lack of stimulation or abrasion to the top of the tongue, then a buildup of keratin can happen, which is the same protein that makes up the hair on your head. So I guess it actually kind of is hair.
For sure. Yeah.
It's
Right.
not just like bacteria in the shape of hair. It's legit just hair.
That's it's incredibly scary.
Hmm.
What would you do if your tongue started to
Cut
look
my
like
tongue
that?
off. Cut it right off.
Does your shirt say Kelvin Costner?
Yep.
Interesting.
This is a non-licensed shirt.
Okay, and that's the loophole.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, Tay, you should get checked.
I know.
What do you mean?
You gotta get checked, bud.
We're talking about something, and then as I'm looking at you, I noticed something on your shirt.
Holy fucking shit.
See, you guys are the ones that you guys are the ones that need to get checked, because you are the ones who think that any minor deviation means that I've got a pathology that needs to be diagnosed by a doctor.
Let me see the tongue.
So anyway, I guess the whole thing
Whoa,
here is
guys, Donald Trump is about to go to jail.
inside jokes. Well, let's wrap this thing up real quick here so Brian can get out of here with one final story, and we're just keeping this on theme. We did kooky ways of seeing the world, kooky ways of smelling people's names. Then we went into weird tongue shit, and now we're going to go into some weird teeth stuff. There's a new drug in the works that can regrow your teeth.
Oh
No.
wow.
Yeah. So dentists are stoked. It's a new. It's an.
My first thought is, what if you give it to somebody whose teeth are perfectly?
Well, I think that's
Perfectly
what.
healthy?
I think this is what we got to try to figure out.
Have you ever seen
Right?
those photos of the people that have like, it looks like they've got like 100 teeth in their mouth, but
Yes.
it's actually like a bunch of calcium
Oh,
buildups
yeah.
like around their teeth?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a walrus?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's what this does if you got fine teeth.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm a bit curious about this. So researchers in Japan are currently working on a medication that would allow people to grow a new set of teeth, with a clinical trial slated for July 2024. The country's national daily news site, the Minichi, recently reported, quote, "The idea of growing teeth is every dentist's dream." Dr. Katsu Takahashi, a lead researcher and head of the dentistry and oral surgery department at the Medical Research Institute Kitano Hospital. I've been working on this since I was a graduate student, he continued. I was confident I'd be able to make it happen. The innovative new medicine helps treat people who don't have a full set of adult teeth due to congenital factors. And researchers say it could be available for public use in 2030. If successful, it will be the first drug in the world that will allow patients to regrow teeth. Takahashi has been working in this on this research at Kyoto University since around 2005 and found that in mice, there's a particular gene that affected the growth of their teeth. The antibody for this gene, USAG1, can help stimulate tooth growth if it is suppressed, something that Takahashi further explored in a 2021 study published in Science Advances. Scientists have since worked to develop a neutralizing antibody medicine that is able to block USAG1. When tested in mice and ferrets, researchers found that the animals were able to grow new teeth. The drug would help people who have a rare genetic disorder called anodontia, which is a total absence of teeth, according to the Cleveland Clinic, due to them never developing. But the thing that I'm kind of curious about here is like, how, like, if you were to give me a drug, say I have no teeth, and you give me a drug to grow teeth,
Well, it might
does
not
the
do
human
anything for you.
body just like naturally have like this is how big the teeth get, and that's it?
That's
Or
what I
like
was
if you take
wondering.
the drug, if it's just like, how do we know, like, when does
Well, if it's doing
you
something,
took the drug too long, your teeth are now 7 inches.
if it's doing something to the gene, but your gene already does the thing that the drug is supposed to do, then it might not. It might just do nothing.
But what if it does something to your gene extra?
Right. Like
It's
honey,
gene
I
extra.
like honey, I blew up the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good question because
Then
like
all of a
how
sudden
do,
you got Alice in Wonderland syndrome in your fucking mouth.
I mean
Yeah.
how do our bodies know when to stop growing our teeth anyway?
Or our hair. You know, it's like my chest hair
Right.
only has a certain length.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I shave my legs now, but my legs hair was a very
Yeah.
defined length.
Yeah,
for
this is a
forever.
defined length. But your head hair,
Right.
my eyebrows,
This is a good
my
question.
eyebrows would grow as long as my mullet if I
I
let
think
it.
this is a dermatologist question, right?
No, they
'Cause-
wouldn't.
'cause
You don't
hair,
shave your
hair
eyebrows.
falls under dermatology, I believe.
I get my eyebrows
Oh.
buzzed every single time I get my hair cut.
What?
Dude, my
Yeah.
eyebrows go buck wild. You ever see videos of old
Oh,
old
sorry.
men whose eyebrows just go
I thought
Like,
you
fucking
meant
like wings?
I thought you meant you like shave them off every time. I was like,
No, but
how have
you-
I not
No,
noticed
no,
that?
no, no, no. But
Yeah,
actually,
I'm going
you
the
have
Mia
like,
Goth route. It's fucking hot.
But you
just shave them right off.
but you actually like they take like I don't know like a number 4 guard or whatever.
Yeah, he
and then
takes
just
well, he,
put on,
well,
like,
well, he
runs
takes
over it.
no guard, but then he takes a comb and
Oh,
brings it
interesting.
up and. But I have a guard at home on my clippers, so if Jer missed it or something, my barber.
No.
You do
Jeremy,
have
Really?
I would
like you do
Yeah,
have
dude,
you do
like,
have
it's probably
your
about-
eyebrow hair is
they get unruly.
quite long.
Oh, super long.
Dude, you have if you should let them grow and just grow drapes.
Turn to the side.
I could.
Turn to the side, Bri.
I could.
Yeah, yours are much more.
Yours
in check.
seem normal.
What about mine?
I don't buzz mine.
So here's the thing. I
Yours
looked
look
in.
normal, yeah.
I'm glad you brought this up. My USAG2, which is the antibody to the gene that tells you how long your hair should grow, is malfolded. So
Yours is.
Yeah, so that's
With
why my
from
eyebrows
tricapta?
will never
Or-
stop.
Or sorry, from
It's a
CF
CF thing, yeah.
for real?
Yeah, for real. So my eyebrows
Uh,
will never stop.
Yeah.
growing.
Okay. Yeah. I clocked the very subtle smirk.
Wait,
there.
wait. I never know what is real when I'm talking to you.
He's lying.
So,
He's just lying.
so do you get your eyebrows shaved?
I do.
Yeah, right. So that part is real.
Yeah,
That
right.
part is
yeah,
true.
right.
That part is
That's
true.
right. It's
I
hard.
got-
It's hard to spot the transition.
I
Sometimes.
got to get these
Yeah.
fucking caterpillars fucking tamed every couple of weeks.
That's
but,
wild.
But you know what? I'll grow them out this summer, and we'll take a look at them in the winter and see how bad they are.
Okay,
They
so-
are- I actually probably won't be able to because like vanity will kick in. It gets crazy.
Are you self-conscious about it?
well, only if it gets out to here.
I am curious. Like,
Which
what
it does.
was the first conversation with your barber where you were like, "Can you actually take care of my eyebrows too?" Because I didn't know that was the service. Or did they like did your barber bring it up and say, your eyebrows could probably use a little trim. Do you mind if I touch them up?
Oh, so Jen, shout out Jen. Jen Knox was my barber before she moved away, and there was one day where she was cutting my hair, and she just went, "You got pretty wild eyebrows, eh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, they're fucking crazy." And she was like, "You want me to
Touch 'em
shape
up.
those up?" And I was like, "Yes, please." I
See,
didn't know
that
was
might
an
have been
option.
that might have been the first mistake.
That's a myth. The whole thing of like shaving your hair makes your hair grow back thicker and longer is not true.
I think your hair becomes more coarse
No, it doesn't.
over time
Nope.
as you cut it.
No, it doesn't.
over
It
and over
actually
again.
just and so this has to do with shaving, not cutting. And it actually has nothing to do with coarseness of the hair. It just changes the direction at which the hair grows. So if you shift the way that hair grows in its direction, and it's all uniformly coming out in one direction.
But how do
I
you
wish
do
I had a
that?
One Direction
Wait,
song lined up here. It gives the illusion that it is darker and thicker and coarser because it's now in this uniform sort of like
Okay.
uh,
Okay.
format that
kinda
just
like-
looks.
It's kind of like when some people
but
are like,
that's a total myth that
like
your
okay.
hair gets coarser and thicker when you shave.
You
That's
know-
why like when we were growing up, I don't know if you guys remember, like when we were growing up, I remember guys, when we were like fucking, I don't know, 13 or something, like
Just shaving.
guys
their
were
bare
shaving
face.
nothing. And they were going, yeah, like this is like going to make my hair grow.
I'm teaching my beard
Yeah.
to grow.
Not, they were just getting razor burn for nothing.
Oh, dude, razor burn's the worst.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
that's it. I gotta go, guys.
there you go.
All right, folks, this was a quick one. Brian's going away for the week, so we banged this out a week ahead of time. That's why everything in here that I read to you is our articles from 2003. We just didn't want to keep it too up with the time. So thanks for supporting the podcast. If you want to support the podcast further, you can do that by just giving us some love. Tell someone you listen to the podcast.
Yep.
Rate and review the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Come on over to Discord and tell us what our names smell like to you. And that'd be great.
Go to the website. Click on the button.
Do that.
Fill out the guest form.
Do that.
Mhm. We're on a huge new. We just launched this new listener recruitment kick, and we're trying to get 1 million new listeners in the next 4 weeks. So if you can do your part, if one person, if for every person listening to this right now tells one friend, we should be able to do that. So
If we could just grow our audience logarithmically with your help, then, I mean, the world would change.
just don't point them to this episode. Point them to something better.
Yeah. Like something with like a really fascinating guest with like a really heartwarming and heartbreaking story, or a researcher with a
Yeah.
really, really, really cutting edge scientific research paper.
Yeah. Cool.
Something like that.
And a huge thank you to Jeff Lonis and Richard Coyne. We love you guys.
We do.
That is it for this week.
I'm Brian.
I'm Taylor.
And I'm Jeremy, and that's the wrong button. And God damn it!
No, you got it. And
And I'm
There
Jeremy,
it
and
is.
this is Sick Boy.
And we said,